Hello, everyone, and welcome. The smoke is here, coming around. Let me put it to the side. The smoke has been going for about 15 minutes, so I think our atmosphere is well cleared. And I would like to welcome everyone. Uh, I and the dark goddess and the moons and the sun welcome you. Welcome you to this ceremony to speak with, to welcome in the eclipse energy and the so welcome everyone. I'm so happy that you've all chosen to spend your time here this afternoon. And I'm sure that we'll have lots of people joining as we come along because it's just now 3 o'clock, just 1 minute after, and I'm hearing the little ringer that tells me people are coming in. So welcome everyone. Welcome. So the dark goddess and I will try to share with you as much as we can about what we need to do with this energy that's coming in tonight. Um, the um, the new moon and the solar eclipse both occur at their peak some about 2:45 in the morning. So we're not quite there yet, but we are certainly in the middle of that energy that's flowing there. Ah, so I would like to invite you to join me as I call the directions. And if you do those directions and want to light your own sage, then by all means, or whatever smoking, clearing things you do, go right ahead and do that. And I will call the directions here from where I am, starting with the center, saying, thank you, divine light. Thank you, sacred ones. Thank you all who come today to guide us through this ceremony and help us understand and harmonize with this eclipse energy today. And I turn to the east and I say, thank you, beautiful, bright, shining sun. Thank you for pouring your light down upon us and reminding us to live in gratitude. We thank you for your light. And I turn to the south and I say, thank you, South Winds. Thank you for the joy and the laughter that you show us. Thank you for calling us to dance in the afternoon sun. Thank you. Ancestors of the West, we call on you. We call on you because we know that the sun goes dark in the west. We know that we call it sunset, and we know that the ancestors leave their bodies and go to the west. And may we go to the west to sit in introspection, to learn, to sit in the darkness with those ancestors who may fill us with their knowledge. We thank you, ancestors of the west. And I turn to the north. To the north, it is the direction of the midnight, the deepest dark of night, the night just before dawn. And we say, thank you, ancestors of the north. Thank you for your darkness. Thank you for teaching us that we listen to the ancestors of the west and move to the north into wisdom consciousness. We thank you. We thank you, ancestors of the north, for teaching us and leading us. And I come full circle back to the center and say, thank you, divine light. And thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you for the earth beneath our feet that holds us, that warms us, that carries us. And thank you to the stars, to our sun, to the moon, to the planets. Thank you to all that is. Thank you for coming this day and leading us on this journey. And I say, Aho, Ashi, Amen, blessed be, Hamdulillah, and so it is. Mm. So welcome, lovely ones. Welcome. I'm so grateful that you're here today. And I know some people will be watching this as a recording, and I welcome those people who are not live with us today as well. When we get to the end, I will try to have some time for you to ask questions or make comments, to have some discussion if that works for you. I think we'll go about an hour, and then I can stay beyond that if people are interested in discussion past that. So I have burned the sage this afternoon to clear the atmosphere, but I also have burning a salt lamp with the flame just above the level of the salt. And I bring the salt in to cleanse and lift the vibration. Salt lamps help reduce stress and boost relaxation. And this particular salt lamp is surrounded by various stones on a plate that was given to me by a friend with beautiful namaste, om, and words like that painted all the way around the edges. So we are well cleared, we are open, our vibration is lifted from the herbs and the burning. And so I have a quote for you that came from Rachel at Aeolian Heart. She's an astrologer, and I do follow her quite closely. And her quote in regard to the eclipse: if the sun in Sagittarius is the eye of the awakened consciousness, then the eclipsing moon is the lid that locks the light and turns the visions inward, prompting you to see beyond the veil. So I hope that today you can see beyond the veil as we go through this ceremony and see the rising and the falling of all that occurs and how we can harmonize and align ourselves with that. For most of you who are on this call, the moon is currently up in the sky, because the moon rose in Eastern time here on the east coast of North America, rose at 6:30 this morning and will set at 4:47. And tomorrow it will rise at almost 8 o'clock and set at 5:30. So we are in the daylight with the moon rather than the moon at night. However, the new moon will occur tonight, overnight, excuse me, actually tomorrow morning at 2:43. And the solar eclipse will peak right around 2 o'clock as well. So even though we're having the ceremony in the day and the moon is up in the day, we're doing this in advance of both the new moon and the coming eclipse. Excuse me, let me get a little water here. So the eclipse actually occurs or starts tonight, tomorrow morning at 12:30 in the morning and goes on till about 4:30, because you know eclipses are slow moving. It will be visible in Antarctica, Southern Australia, South Africa, possibly South America. It will not be visible to most of the people in the world. However, eclipse energy impacts us all, whether we see it or not. Eclipses and new moons are about transformation, about beginnings and endings. And they tend to bring events that shift and transform our lives. Eclipses represent portals into like new states of consciousness. So what I'd like to do to start with, I have several things for us to work through and work with today, but I'd like to start with an activity where we become a chalice. And so we ask for divine guidance and energy of the highest good. And if you would like to join me, please do so. What I will do, and if you want to join me, you too, make yourself a chalice. Hold your arms either here or hold them up wherever it feels comfortable to you, but hold your arms in the shape of a chalice. I'll hold mine low so that you can actually see what I'm doing. So with this chalice, we're going to ask the sun and the moon to fill our chalice and send this blessing to the earth. So we ask first for the light of the east, the morning sun, to begin to fill our chalice. The morning sun that reminds us that we stand in gratitude of all the incredible, beautiful things that happen. And we ask the south, the mid-afternoon sun, to continue to fill the chalice with the golden light of the sun. The east and the south sunlight now fills the chalice and it overflows. It's flowing over the top of your chalice. And with your filled chalice, we tilt to the left and pour that golden sunlight onto the earth, to Mother Earth and to all of her beings. The light of the sun, lighting the pathway, reminding us of gratitude. And we empty our chalice and come back to center. And take a good breath in and out. And we call to the west, to where we say the sun sets. We know that the earth is actually moving, but we call it the sunset because we go into darkness as we go to the west. The ancestors who leave their bodies travel through the west. And we go to the west, asking the dark of the west to fill our chalice with that dark light, with that shimmery, almost silvery, dark light, so that we can remember who we are. And we open that chalice a little wider and ask the north light to fill the chalice to overflowing with the dark light and the silver light. And we are filled and overflow and tilt to the right to pour out this chalice cup onto Mother Earth and all her beings. And we empty our chalice and come back to center. And we open our hands and we reach out to all of the directions and the golden light and the silver light and bring it in a circular motion to our hearts. And we take it into our bodies and into our heart, into our minds, into our emotions, into all levels of our being. And say, thank you, thank you, thank you for the light from the sun that reflects on the moon, that keeps our earth in motion and in living. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mm. Ah, so as we go through this amazing journey, let's talk about this solar eclipse in fiery Sagittarius. Ah, this eclipse is very special. It is the final eclipse in the Sagittarius Gemini axis. And it has been in this position where eclipses are in Sagittarius Gemini for 19 years. 19 years. So I would like you to take just a moment to think back through the key points in your life from 2002 to 2021. So just run through that, the highlights, the sad things, the happy things, the wonderful things, the not so good things. But think from 2002, where were you? Who were you? What were you doing? And move from maybe 2006, 2008. Where were you living? What were you doing? 2010, 2014, 18, 20, 2021. And think about the overall pattern from where you were in 2002 up till now. And you might want to do some journaling in a little while, a little later on, to kind of think back through those patterns. Because we're going to do some work today on past work and future work. And you can continue this. We may not go deep enough, long enough for you while we're on this call together, but take these images and these guidelines to go deeper on your own later. That pattern of your life from 2002 to 2021 is now closing. It's transforming. You're starting a new journey. And in this new journey, you can choose to repeat those old patterns or release those old patterns. Some of them may be good for you and you may want to take them forward. And some of those patterns may no longer serve your well-being. And those patterns that no longer help us along our spiritual journey need to be cut loose. Some of those things even block us from continuing on our new path. So take the opportunity to step into forgiveness. Forgiveness of those that you feel have done you wrong, but forgiveness of yourself. Release some of those heavy burdens that you've been carrying with you for a while. And also praise yourself for those wonderful moments, those wonderful choices that you've made in this 19-year cycle. Now it's time to let go. And maybe that will be uncomfortable because we get accustomed to things even when they don't help us anymore. They're habits that we hold on to. And you may have some unprocessed feelings about some of the things, but in this sacred time, ask for release because we're in the transition time. This is the time where it can happen the best, the most easily in the process. And so I want to offer you a few of my crow feathers. And so in your mind, reach out and gather. They might be raven, they might be crow. I have both here, and they choose to drop feathers. So they're raven and crow feathers. They represent the Mortigan in the Celtic line. The Mortigan comes to carry the dead to the other world. So let her feathers cut your ties to old patterns. And I will take out a couple of her feathers, and the others are now with you. in the etheric realm. So let Morrigan's feathers cut the ties, cut those lines that hold you, cut the things that you know you need to let go, cut the things that you want to let go, cut the things that you know you need to let go but just haven't had the courage. So sit for just a moment and let those things come to you as the Morrigan's feathers cut those ties for you. Cut that little one. Let her cut through a large one. Let her feathers cut your ties to those old patterns that don't serve you anymore. Cutting the ties. Releasing, cutting the ties. And with these feathers, I'm making the symbol of the infinity, because you are a part of infinity, and the cutting of the old ties make way for the new. So make time to be thankful for the journey and honor the lessons and the growth that you've achieved in this period of time. You may experience some waves of emotion right now, later this week, over the next couple of weeks. Notice those waves and try to stay in the flow, just observing where that flow of emotion takes you as you continue the releasing of these things that you identify that are not helping you any longer. So let's look forward for just a moment, because you will continue to do this releasing work over the next several days, maybe the next several weeks. But at the same time, we need to look forward for the next 19 years, 2021 through 2040. Is that astounding? I spent half a century in the 1900s in the exciting, provoking energy of the 1960s. It was hard to even imagine 2000. And here I'm asking you to look at 2040. So where are you? Are you in the prime of your life right now? Are you in the later years of your life? Are you in the ending phases of your life? What will you do with this precious time in the next 19 years? So you can continue to repeat what you've been doing, or you can choose to make a change. During this time, we have access to deeper realms of awareness. This eclipse energy creates this portal for us to slip into deeper awareness, where we can more easily choose to alter our path. So first, let's break it down to a slightly smaller cycle. Let's start with the lunar cycle. Every lunar cycle, every lunation, is a part of a longer 2.5-year cycle. So this new moon tomorrow morning, this new moon starts the cycle right now in December 2021 that will represent a critical turning point in September of 2022. That's about 9 months from now. So wherever you start now in December 2021, things will happen, and you'll come to a point in September of next year where some critical things you'll become aware of, or you'll do or want to do. And then continuing with that, those dreams, those intentions, those things that you create during this time period and on up through next year will come into realization by June of 2023, a year and a half from now. And the manifestation of those intentions will continue in your life. And they'll come to a release in February of 2024. So when I post this recording, I'll post those dates on the website as well. But that's starting now, going forward about 9 months from now, you're going to be truly into this new phase. And so it's the time to really dig in and find where you really want to go with your dreams and your intentions. And then they're going to come into manifestation around June of 2023 and continue on with you till about February of 2024. So that's this lunar cycle alone. And it's a very significant lunar cycle because it's overlapped with this particular eclipse. So as we begin to see what's revealed through this eclipse energy and the lunar energy, try to be open to seeing that, and be open to some ways to help you step along and move and change and grow with this. So let's look at some ways to help us with these transitions. Now, always when you're looking at growth and looking at transition, remember the directions and the elements and what they represent. So I'm going to present you with some things to think about, things to do that are connected to fire, earth, air, and water. So the first thing I'd like to do is present you with the earth element by way of a stone. This stone is called zoisite with ruby. The zoisite is a green and white. There are some other versions, but this one is the green and white. And there's a vein of ruby that looks kind of brown on this side. But at the very tip, there is a ruby. That this little tip could be chipped out and polished and carved and made into a ruby that goes into some sort of jewelry. It's that kind of a ruby. And it grew in the zoisite. So I offer this to you as an awakening. Zoisite awakens the true self. It brings joyful engagement with life. It increases life force. It energizes the entire body and creates a sense of well-being. It increases the intensity of the heart's yearning. Your heart is yearning for that connection with the divine. And so it's increasing that intensity in whatever way that manifests for you, so it can help you open to the eternal love of the divine. So spend just a minute focusing on the stone, either closing your eyes into meditation or continuing to look at the screen that's filled with the zoisite, with ruby. And we say thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you for this incredible stone. Mm. I'll tell you the story on this stone. I was in the mountains in Western Carolina at a rock and mineral shop. It was filled to the brim, shelves around every wall. Not a large place, but just shelves every place. And this stone called to me. I didn't know what it was that was calling me, but I walked to this particular shelf, walked away from the owner, the salesman who was talking to the other person that I was with, walked away from them, walked to the far corner, and for whatever reason, reached my hand in behind everything that was showing, reached behind it and put my hand on this stone and pulled it out. And the owner saw what I had and he said, "You found it." I don't know if he had purposely put it there waiting for the person that it was calling, or if it was just, he had just filled up the shelves. But at any rate, the stone came to me. I had never seen zoisite before, or if I had never noticed it. And I've come to love it greatly over the last few years. So I hope that it helps you a bit on your journey. And the dark goddess and the moon always want to remind you of the water. So with the water, I bring you a water essence. This is called Universal Life Energy Expansion. This is made by a group called Not Made by Hands. And this water essence is for upliftment and expansion, just like the name says, Universal Life Expansion. When the Akashic records were read in regard to this, the records said that this energy, that its energy is pure, clear, joy, playful, clean, and expansive. It's a guide and a messenger from the elemental realm wanting to assist us, and we can ask it questions. And so I will sit here again for just a minute and I'm going to spray. I don't know if the camera will pick up the spray, but I am spraying it here in front of the camera, spraying it into the atmosphere here and transmitting it out to you, transmitting this energy, this joyful, playful, pure energy for the purpose of expansion. So breathe that in. If you take a breath in, you're breathing in moisture, and your moisture now is filled with the essence of the universal life energy expansion. So let that flow into your lungs, into your bloodstream, into the atmosphere around you. And ask it a question. The universe will answer. So the goddess and the moon and I would like to present you with the air element in the form of feathers. These feathers are of the blue jay. And I know some of you were with me in the last class in November, and we took a journey with the blue jay. So I offer the blue jay feathers. So in your mind's eye, reach out and hold the blue jay feather in your hand. The blue jay is a very special bird. Its feathers are black, blue, and white. The black represents the earth. The white represents the heaven. And the blue, where the blue jay flies, represents the sky. The blue jay is the connector between heaven and earth. The blue jay comes today to be your connector, to be your guide, for you to be standing here on Mother Earth, receiving from the divine, from the elements, all the way down into your physical body, your mental, emotional body, your astral, your etheric body, your causal body, all of those levels. The blue jay, the symbol of the blue jay is there to move you through each of those aspects, through each of your bodies that are a part of the true part of who you are. So let the blue jay be the representative of the air to move you through this new journey for the next 19 years. And from the fire, I have a special offering for you from the fire. Of course, I have the candle burning in the salt lamp, and we had the smoke earlier to clear the air. But what I have now to offer to you are prayer bundles. In this basket, I have prayer bundles, and I offer the prayer bundles to you. So again, in your mind, take one of these prayer bundles and hold it in your hand. And put into this prayer bundle the things that you think you want to release, the things you're afraid to release, the things you know you want to release, and your prayers for what comes in the future to be revealed to you, all within these prayer bundles. And so I hold them out and let you fill them up. And later, when the time is right, I will take these prayer bundles that through the etheric realm you have filled with your prayers, and I will burn them in the fire to send them out into the atmosphere, to send them out into the universe, to send them out into manifestation. And if you would like to make your own prayer bundle, I want to show you and tell you how to do that. It's just a little square of fabric tied with a string. So you take a square, similar to the size of your hand, something like that, a square or a rectangle, in any sort of fabric. Try to make sure that it's something natural like cotton. But you cut the square and you fill just a little section, just as these are. As you can see, they're just little bundles with just a little piece of things here. One of the things you could put in them would be cornmeal. That's always a good offering to the earth. But what I have in my prayer bundles are herbs. So I've crossed over from the fire to the burning that goes into the air. but the very material of the prayer bundle and the insides of the prayer bundle are from the earth. So I suggest that you put herbs in it. The three herbs that I'm using right now are dandelion, chamomile, and rosemary. They're easy to find. You could even rip open a bag of tea if you don't have the loose herbs. The dandelion represents happiness and light and hope, healing, endurance, determination, many, many good things with the dandelion. The chamomile represents rest and peace and calmness and renewal and rebirth. The Egyptians dedicated chamomile to their sun gods because the flower reminded them of the sun. So they're very much about the renewal and the rebirth. And the rosemary is for new beginnings and for longevity and for earth wisdom. And there are many other herbs that you can use, but use the herbs that you're called to. Cut the little square of fabric, tie it up with string, put it out in your garden to decay if you need to. But if you burn it, it releases faster. So those are all ways to work with the bundles, your prayer bundles. And the basket is receiving your prayers now and will continue to receive them over the next several days. So the basket is waiting for your prayers. So we've come to the end of our ceremony time. We've come to the time where we thank the ancestors and the elements for being with us. So I'd like you to open your heart and open your hands. And along with the dark goddess and the moons and the sun, we say thank you to the ancestors and the elements. Thank you to all of the beings who've come here today to work with us. And we say, ancestors of the East and the West, thank you for coming. Stay with us if you can and go if you need. Thank you for being. And to the ancestors of the South and the North, we say thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for enlightening us. Thank you for pouring your light and your energy down upon us. Thank you for coming. Stay if you can. Go if you must. And I come back to center and say, thank you, divine light. Thank you. Thank you for universal life energy that flows through us. We know that you never leave us, that you always are here, a part of the flowing energy that we sometimes acknowledge, sometimes feel, sometimes forget, but we know that you are always, always with us. So thank you, divine light. Thank you. Thank you for each of you for coming today. My next ceremony will be in February with the Celtic Imbolc celebration, which will also be the new moon. I'll do a new moon ceremony and a full moon ceremony in February, connected with that Imbolc energy time. And that new moon will be in Aquarius, so that will be another turning for us as we get to that. But much more ahead, and I'll post this recording on my website, and I will I'll write those herbs, and I'll write the word the zoisite with ruby in case you want to look that up further, and just put some information there. Um, so thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me stop the recording.